Our first question is from James. James is a master runner who runs 5 to 6 days a week, depending on mileage. I've been using kettlebells for about 3 years now for strength. Since running is my main focus, I keep my kettlebell programming simple, but want to make sure my approach isn't counterproductive. Now, he's about to share his workouts, which is great. The only thing he doesn't include is load. And we also don't have his body weight. So there's a classic problem about to happen. And the problem is this: what do you mean by this? So if I say, jeepers, I'm just snatching and cleaning jerking 3 days a week, but those numbers are world-class numbers, and it's completely different than saying, I Olympic lift 3 days a week. I use, a PVC pipe or a broomstick and do a couple sets of 5. And not to be a jerk, it's just important. Those little bits of information are important. His workout's pretty simple. He does 10 sets of 10 in the swing, 100 total reps. He does 5 Turkish get-ups left, 5 Turkish get-ups right, goblet squats, 5 sets of 5, clean and press, 5 sets of 5 on both sides, single leg deadlift, 2x5, lunges, 2x5. He has basically a easy strength kind of concept. He sticks with weights so that they always feel very easy. He says super easy. They then transition to heavier weights. He does kettlebells twice a week. He asks if this is a prudent approach. And well, of course, I have to say I have an extensive track and field background. I was going to track meets, when I was 5 to watch my brothers compete. It might even been younger. I've been around track and field literally my whole life. I've been to cross-country meets in some really nice places and some really bad places. I've been all around the world at track and field events. Track and field has a love affair with weightlifting, and we've been doing this since the 1940s. I'm very proud that track and field, or athletics or light athletics, have been pioneers in getting strength and conditioning into mainstream athletics. So yeah, I'm a big believer in this. He asked, should I periodize his kettlebells? One of the things I like when I read Percy Sarity, when I read Maffei Tone, when I read J.K. Doherty, when I read a lot of the great coaches, is one of the things I think we've gotten away from in modern track and field. Well, that's not true. In lots of training is there is no off season anymore. There's no preparatory period. There's no general training. I used to like the old phrases, and I still do. Off season up to 4 weeks, 6 weeks a year. We don't do anything. You take it off, and then there's that massive general training, or the off season we used to call it, and then a preseason, then in season, and you have clear separate lines. So the answer to you or to anybody who asks this question is yes. I think it's always a good idea to have some kind of thing where you change with the seasons. Now, you're going to have to figure that out with what you consider your in season. So if you're doing a lot of events in the summer, spring, fall, there's 3 seasons, you're going to have to rethink, I think you have to rethink how you approach that. I have found with my athletes, because I'm in the American collegiate system with a lot of my athletes, when it's the perfect time of year to throw the discus shot, hammer, and javelin, of course, is the summer, and we very often in some states there's no track meets at all. So we have made the summer probably the most intensive time of mixing the Olympic lifts with throwing, because I know that we have, this is going to sound odd, but we have fall and winter to sort of recover after this heavy spring and summer. And it's just a different way of doing things. So yes, at some level, you should periodize your kettlebells. I would focus more in the farther away from your competitions, the more kettlebells you should do. He's come across some strength programs for runners that recommend periodizing strength, but it seems like overcomplicating things. Yeah, there's a couple things I'd like you to think about. in general. First, I do have a program on this on Dan John University called Kettlebell Easy Strength, and it already sounds like you're doing it. I think you're doing, you do lunges and you're doing the single side deadlifts. That's probably redundant. Having said that, if that's stuff you like to do when you think it's important, I'm not going to argue against you. The other thing I would recommend is the workout generator for what you're doing. If you plug in the equipment you have, and it seems like maybe just kettlebells or whatever, you might need just a little bit more variety in your movements. Variation comes to us in 3 styles, wild, mild, and no. Right now, it just looks like you have no variation. And by the way, that's fine. And mild variation would be going, from incline bench to, bench press to decline bench to military. Wild variation would be you train for a kettlebell certification, then you train for an Olympic lifting meet. That's what I do actually. So one of the things I'd recommend is that you're going to need mild variation. And I think the workout generator will help you a lot. Okay, so basically we have a question from James. He's using kettlebells for running. And 2 big questions showed up. First, should he periodize his training? I think yes. There should be a time of year we do more kettlebells and a different kind of running program. There should be a time of year we do less kettlebells and more intensity. And then the other thing he asked about is, what about variation? And I think the workout generator is the best idea for someone who's running and doing kettlebells, because what you need in the kettlebell work is some mild variation, some small changes in your training, not massive, but small. I hope that helped. Thank you.